Have you heard the good news about systematic reviews? What is a systematic review and why is it so helpful for clinicians? In class this semester, we have talked about several types of scientific studies, and you can see them making up the first few layers of the evidence-based pyramid. Randomized controlled trials, case control, and case studies are examples of studies that are done to produce raw data on a topic. There can be hundreds of articles on a topic which can be unintentionally biased or even contain design flaws. Systematic reviews are at the top of this pyramid, and they review other literature and compile all of the data and research on a particular topic. The authors follow a series of steps to determine what all the data says and then summarize it. Therefore, systematic reviews are considered the strongest and highest quality of evidence. Another type of study that is at the top is meta-analysis. Simply put, a systematic review summarizes all of the information that has been published on a defined research question, while a meta-analysis uses statistics to test the hypothesis. Although these are two different types of research, they are often found together in one publication as they are complementary to each other. For the purposes of this video, we will put meta-analysis to the side and focus on how to write a systematic review. In order to appreciate systematic reviews, it is essential to understand the process involved in writing them. We are going to explain in detail the steps involved in creating a systematic review with the goal of appreciating why systematic reviews are at the top of the evidence-based pyramid. In general, the process involves searching through the available literature systematically, reviewing the data, and then presenting. The first step in writing a systematic review is to formulate the review question. A topic that has been heavily researched is whether or not amalgam has adverse health effects such as multiple sclerosis. For this topic, we would form a hypothesis such as there is no link between having dental amalgams placed and multiple sclerosis, and come up with an article title. One example of a published systematic review on this topic is Dental Amalgam and Multiple Sclerosis, a Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis. This is a short and descriptive title that makes it easy for other researchers to find and utilize the article.
The next step is to define what and what will not be reviewed. Will the authors want to limit the age of the population review? Will they exclude certain types of trials? What is an appropriate size sample? The authors will define these criteria prior to finding studies, and which will allow them to search critically for the most useful and accurate studies. In this step, the authors decide how to find their studies. What relevant key terms will they use? Are mesh terms that will be searched? What terms will ensure that irrelevant studies are filtered out? In the amalgam and MS study that we used as an example earlier, the following terms were used as mesh terms. Next, the search strategy is utilized to search databases and compile studies that meet the inclusion terms. This is usually done by more than one researcher to prevent errors and ensure that appropriate studies are chosen. In the example article, the authors state that studies were independently reviewed by two authors and disagreements were resolved by consensus. After finding relevant articles, the authors must extract data. This step is crucial and is important to stay organized. In order to avoid bias and avoid incorrect data entry, it is important to have multiple researchers review the articles and participate in this process.
The authors must then look at the quality of the studies. This can be done using different checklist systems such as the 5-point Oxford Quality Rating System or Consor. In many reviews, this is where a meta-analysis would be done to find out if their data is truly saying what it implies and if the study data can be combined, also called heterogeneity. This next step is the bulk of the published paper. The authors will present what their conclusions are after compiling all the data. If a meta-analysis is done, they will present it here, many times in the form of a forest plot. They will discuss their findings and provide recommendations for future research and for clinician use. The clearer these statements are, the easier it is to share their findings with other clinicians and researchers. Clearly recommending what research should be done to fill in gaps in the current literature can drive the field to furthering knowledge. After all of these steps are complete, it is now time to share the findings with other researchers and the public. Since reviews can be filled with complex and convoluted terminology and can be lengthy, it is recommended that researchers also create an abbreviated version of the review. This can allow them to be used in journals that only allow articles of shorter length. A version for the general public is also recommended that is free of medical jargon, so that it is easy and direct to prevent confusion. So, in conclusion, when looking for literature and data, there can be hundreds and thousands of papers. Systematic reviews are essential in compiling together the widespread research that is available, and they're a key and trusted tool for researchers and clinicians.